I would say today's topic would be the one factor, if there's one factor that would ensure that you achieve Tony Robbins' canny, continuous and never-ending improvement. And if you've got 80, 100 years to live, that's really an exciting thought that you can be reaching peak after peak. Now, last week, I talked about former Minister S. Iswaran's conviction for obtaining gifts as a public servant and obstructing justice. We looked at how accountability can prevent leaders, especially those in high risky positions, from making serious mistakes that could set them back a long time or permanently on their life goals and life mission. Accountability is not just to keep an eye on the young, the frail, or the old. For these categories of people, we actually want to restrict that freedom. Okay, so those of us with grandchildren, we know we've got to have their eyes on them all the time. But talking about grandchildren, when we have grandchildren, we know the principle of continuous and never-ending improvement. They are changing all the time, and we want to be like that as we grow older. Okay, so accountability is not just to keep an eye on the young, the frail, or the old. You want to actually give the high performers freedom. Okay, you are not about restricting freedom of the young, the old, the frail. You want to give the high performance or performers freedom. So accountability is a safety net for high flyers, to give them the freedom to push boundaries, go into unknown domains, experiment to create better outcomes for many people. Typically, these people think out of the box. They are mavericks and a bit bo-chap, okay? They bo-chap the conventional kiasu thinking. True freedom in leadership is having the trust and ability to make bold decisions, knowing that you are accountable and will be supported by those around you. So accountability gives freedom its direction and purpose, ensuring it doesn't devolve into recklessness. I would say, as I said earlier, that this would be the one factor that would ensure you actually have continuous and never-ending improvement, as Tony Robbins says. Leaders like Iswaran falter because they either don't have or they don't listen to honest feedback. It is crucial to cultivate an environment where accountability is what I call normalized, and speaking truth to power is encouraged. It's a two-way street where leaders need to be receptive and others need to be brave enough to hold them accountable. Real leadership is about creating an environment where people are free to contribute and take risks, but always with the awareness that they are part of a larger system that requires them to answer for their actions. As a leader, ensure you have systems, people, and feedback mechanisms that not only keep you accountable, but also provide the safety net for those you lead. The higher one is in wealth, in authority, in age, the more difficult it is to find such a relationship that is a committed mirror to your thoughts and deeds, to my thoughts and deeds. So how do I create such a relationship? How do we have this accountability that will enable us to continue climbing peaks? The higher one's position, whether in wealth, authority, or age, the more challenging it can be to find relationships where others feel comfortable or empowered enough to act as an honest mirror to your thoughts and deeds. And the reasons, are many, multifaceted. The power imbalance that may create fear or reluctance in others to speak openly. Okay, we see that, with people in authority, with government. People have vested interest in keeping you pleased, or you might find it harder to identify who genuinely cares about your growth rather than gaining something from you. So to create accountable relationships, I want you to consider the following 8 strategies. So we've talked about the why last week. Okay, I talked a bit about the why have accountable relationships. Now it's the how. This is the practical part. And as I share you want to take note of these strategies because it's the doing part. Okay. So the first strategy is to cultivate vulnerability and openness. Create an environment where vulnerability is seen as a strength. Share your doubts and uncertainties to invite others to share their honest perspectives. By showing you're open to critique, you encourage them to be more forthcoming. Number two, seek out diverse mentors and peers. Okay, diverse mentors and peers. Mentorship doesn't always have to come from those who are higher or more experienced in your field. Actively seek mentors and peers with diverse perspectives, including those outside your industry or sphere of influence. These people may feel less constrained by your authority and can provide more candid feedback. Number three, encourage psychological safety. Make it explicitly clear that you value constructive criticism and that there will be no negative consequences for giving honest feedback. Make a habit of thanking people publicly for their honesty to set a precedent that this is welcome. Number four, create structures for feedback. Implement regular structured opportunities for feedback. This could be through one-on-one check-ins. If in corporate life, you're talking about 360-degree reviews or even anonymous surveys, which you can do after a talk, after you've spoken to someone in a particular uncomfortable way. Okay. When people see consistent invitations for feedback and how you act on it, they are more likely to contribute meaningfully. Fifth, use third-party facilitators. Third-party facilitators. Sometimes it helps to bring in a trusted third party, such as a coach or facilitator, to create a space where others feel more comfortable being honest. Such facilitators can guide conversations in a safe way, ensuring that challenging topics are addressed. Six, give power to your committed mirrors. So committed mirror is a term that I created. Okay, a mirror, but a mirror that is, always reflecting back. Okay, so give power to your committed mirrors. Elevate the role of those who give you honest feedback. Empower them formally if possible, like making them part of an advisory board or giving them an accountability role. This not only formalizes the importance of their input, but also gives them the confidence to speak up. Okay. Number seven, practice humility. Actively seek to dismantle any aura of intimidation that your status might unintentionally create. Approaching others with humility and a genuine curiosity about their thoughts can encourage them to engage more openly. Acknowledge your own fallibility in a visible way to create that sense of equality in dialogue. And the last one, number eight, model the behavior you seek. Model the behavior you seek. Be a mirror for others as well. When you consistently hold yourself accountable and provide constructive, caring feedback to others, you set the standard and show that you value reciprocal relationships where mutual honesty is expected and appreciated. So developing these relationships, you can see, requires patience and intentional effort, but they are invaluable in creating the accountability structures that are necessary to keep growing in leadership. I would say, these are some things that you need to practice. Okay, you need to practice wherever you are, whether it's in a small group. In fact, a small group is a great place to start. Okay, and just because a small group meets regularly, you can practice regularly these things. Okay, this is a checklist that you can go through with your small group for a start. Okay, you're basically asking permission to be a committed mirror and asking them to be a committed mirror to you. But I think, we know all the theory, but the magic always happens where there is love. Because love makes me do things that are uncomfortable, okay, for the sake of the other person. Okay. And when there is love, people will do things to me. And I give you an example of this. Hui Xuan has shared in her post about Hu Sui Chao's recent celebration of having climbed 300 peaks. Okay, so that celebration was a very, very basic thing. It was just go up to climb a mountain and then hear some stories. Okay, but it turned out to be entertaining. It turned out to be comprehensive. That means complete. It turned out to be really memorable, simply because Hui Xuan wanted to contribute. So this was in leadership habit number one. Okay, be proactive. She took the initiative. She said, not only 100% is possible 100% of the time, I want to do more than 100%. I own this thing. And so it was distinction, leadership distinction number two. If it's to be, it's up to me. Okay. And this is the magic, that she showed up for a giant who really is not really good at caring for this community thing. I mean, how do you become a loner, spending most of the time up there with just you and your Sherpa? If you didn't, if you could do without, it's because you can do without the crowds around you. Okay, in fact, you want to avoid crowds. So someone like Hui Xuan can be that committed mirror to help him continue to improve. As he descends from the peaks, he decided to stop climbing 8,000 meters because he's 60 years old and it's dangerous. As he comes down, he'll be able to do more for people that are more ordinary at the lower levels. Okay, so go through this checklist of 8 strategies, how to create an accountable relationship, and give yourselves the freedom as you grow old to continue to stretch and grow. Okay, instead of growing into be someone grumpy, growls at people when they give feedback. I mean, you do that, people will just stay away, and then you are doomed. You're climbing the mountain of life without a guide. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me.